Welcome to Everyday Happiness, where we create lasting happiness in 2 minutes a day through my signature method of intentional margins, creating harmony between your to-dos and your priorities, happiness science, and musings about life. I'm your host, Katie Jeffcoat, and I was listening to the Yale Happiness course by Dr. Laurie Santos, and yesterday we talked about this idea that our minds are built to get used to stuff. But what Dr. Santos says is even more nuanced, is that we don't even realize that our minds are built to get used to stuff. This is problematic because the things we seek out that we think will make us happy, we think it will make us happy for a long time. But that's simply not true. Our minds think it will, and we want to believe our mind, our intuition, but it's scientifically not true. Dr. Santos calls this just an illusion. We think eating the 7th cookie will taste as good as the first, but it won't. So again, Dr. Daniel Gilbert and his colleagues came up with a word that describes this phenomenon, that we don't even realize that our minds are built to get used to stuff. And it's called impact bias. He says it's the tendency to overestimate the emotional impact of a future event, both in terms of intensity and its duration. As I read this quote, I thought about random impromptu brunch with friends. That was so fun. There was just no expectation, as opposed to New Year's Eve party where there is so much expectation, right? I totally overestimated my happiness for the New Year's Eve party and had no expectations for brunch, that I just had no time to think about it and had so much more fun. So why are we so bad at this? Why can't we change it? Well, Dr. Daniel Gilbert has this term called focalism. He says it's the tendency to think just about one event and forget about the other things that happen in our lives. So we predict losing a job is the worst thing ever. But we don't think about other things like getting a new job, making new friends. When we focus in on the one narrow thing, we mispredict. But if we can zoom out and look beyond that moment, we can create better prediction. So if you are feeling like something is going to cause you great distress in your life, maybe it is right now, there's something on your mind. One way to counterbalance that is to take a wider view of other things that may happen to tip the scales in the happier side of the coin. Until next time.